The Mount Moon Review podcast, while a podcast about Pokemon, is not intended for children. You can expect some instances of adult humor, coarse language, and adult situations. Parental discretion is advised.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 49 of the Mount Moon Review podcast, the only podcast where all its DLC is for free. I'm your host, the Razgrees, with my co-host, the Blue Duck Gold Duck, bringing you all the information you need to know about the world of Pokemon's happened in the last week in less than an hour. Let's be honest. It used to be an hour, but we're down to less than an hour at this point. So this has been what we thought was going to be a very slow week, and it's picked up quite dramatically. So, Duck, you've got the format in front of you. We just added something within the last 20 minutes, but it shouldn't affect your ordering. So, let's start out where? Where are we starting out today?
Let's start out with video game.
Let's start out with VGC, as is our custom.
So, we know the Isle of Armor is just 2 days away. 2 days away. Wednesday, the 17th, you'll be able to play the Isle of Armor DLC. And IGN recently got a chance to play.
They got an advanced copy, those buggers, and they put out what?
It wasn't an advanced copy. It was they got to play somewhere where they had something already staged for them to play.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They got to play it early. I mean, it's media, right, yeah. It's media coverage. I get it. I could still be angry about it. I didn't get to play, but nevertheless, they did. And so we got to see about the first 30 minutes or so of the Isle Armor, and I have not seen the video yet, but Duck has.
Yeah, so it wasn't. We didn't get to see 30 minutes. They were only allowed to put a 5-minute video out, and I'm like, okay, cool. We'll see it from start to 5 minutes in. Maybe we'll see some cool Pokemon walking around the grass. No, it was just cuts, and it was basically things we've already seen.
Yeah, it wasn't a whole lot.
I don't think we saw any new Pokemon in that trailer, so that sucked.
A lot of hype for nothing.
But they wrote an article about their 30-minute experience, and we did learn some things there.
Now, what people need to realize, too, is a lot of times even when the media does get advanced copies or does get advanced access to things like that, they're contractually embargoed from putting anything out until a certain day and time. So,
right,
if you're on the fence about the DLC, typically the day that DLC comes out is the day the embargo ends. And at that point, they can post anything they want, and that's when you'll start seeing the reviews coming out from places like IGN. But what do you have for us, Doug?
So one thing they learned is that they don't... So they threw out a level 60 Pokemon, the trainer Pokemon they had. Like the trainer, the person playing had a level 60 Pokemon on their team, and the trainer they were battling also had a level 60 Pokemon. And Nintendo told them that yes, there is level scaling. So if you are just starting off the game and you go to the Isle of Armor, which you can do immediately after you unlock the wild area, you also unlock the Isle of Armor, and then same goes for the Crown Tundra. The Pokemon aren't going to be level 60. Now, who knows how high they're going to go?
Well,
right?
We see that in the wild area now, is when you go in there and you're first starting out, you're going to run into the stuff that's not like the big ones that we actually see walking around, but the random encounters. They're scaled to what your badge level is at that point. So that's nothing new. And I think
that's based on badges.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
They're assuming this is your Pokemon's level. Like if you have a level 100 Pokemon, maybe their Pokemon will be level 100.
Maybe. I have a feeling it's probably going to be
awesome.
It's going to be based just off like the same deal we have in the wild area.
Maybe it capped at 60 like the wild area.
Possibly.
Yeah, I mean, it's ironic that they only showed us the same level as the wild area, so who knows?
I mean, people are going to be playing the DLC now are probably people that have been playing since the game came out. So, great, yeah, these high-level Pokemon, but there's people are going to be just buying the game. There's going to be people that just buy the game next week. There's going to be people that buy the game 3 months from now. And when they get to DLC, you can't. They may jump right into it, so they have to have that scaling in there. I get it. I understand it.
I think it's cool, and it opens up the doors to like future things they can do. Like, you know, if they get scaling right and they get the open world thing right, maybe we get an actual traditional open world game, Pokemon game someday. That'd be awesome.
That would be great, but I don't. They've shied away from doing that so many years when they've had the capability of doing it that I just don't know if we're ever going to see it.
But we can keep our fingers crossed.
Anyway.
So within 30 minutes of starting the game, they didn't really go into too many spoilers, but they did not have Cubfu yet. So, and I imagine that's the bulk of the DLC is going to be playing with Cubfu. So that's to me that the story is a little bit longer than we thought it was going to be.
If I had to guess, without having any knowledge of it, and just going off of traditionally how long the extra stories are, 6 to 8 hours.
6 to 8?
6 to 8 for the story.
That's longer than I was expecting.
I'd say 6 to 8 just for the story, but then you could, if you're gonna, completion it, you're probably looking at probably a week or so.
Well,
for a normal person, for a normal person, not for a blue.
How
duck,
long is it going to take?
Not for a blue duck, gold duck.
I had the Pokédex complete on Monday after Sword and Shield came out.
We know, but you also didn't sleep.
No, I didn't.
So you can go to the Isle of Armor roughly 2 hours into the story. Okay.
Yep.
Not bad.
So yeah.
Now I don't know why my kids told me this, but at dinner tonight, my youngest told me that the area where you get the evolution stones for Eevee, that little island, he said everything there is reset. So maybe that's the gateway to get there.
They move stuff?
Something about the evolution stones. My son told me. I haven't verified this at all, but he said that something in there reset, and everything's moved around. So maybe that's how you get to the Isle of Armor. I don't know. I figured it'd be the train.
It's going to be a Corviknight taxi. They show the cutscene of the character coming in on the Corviknight. Yeah.
So I mean, he could have just been talking out of his butt too. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Well, yeah, I guess he's not at school.
No.
Because maybe the kids are sitting around the lunch table, talking about.
They're laying in their rooms with their Switches in hand. So.
So I there wasn't it's kind of lackluster information here. So I put together a little list of some Pokemon that I'm really looking forward to, and I think are gonna shake up the meta when they.
So here newsflash, folks, it's Scizor. Go figure.
Scizor, my second favorite Pokemon.
We know.
But actually, I think I said it last week too. We only saw Scyther. We didn't see Scizor, so there could be some kind of surprise there. But as traditionally we've seen, if the Galarian form is in the game, the traditional, like the Cantonian or Johtonian, or the original form is also in the game. So it'll probably come from like Pokemon Home. But yeah, so Scizor got the Technician ability. All the moves under 60 base power do 1.5 damage. So moves like Bullet Punch, its priority, and it hits for like about 80 base power. Amazing. Scizor's an awesome Pokemon. That's the one I'm most excited for. Second is Politoed, another rain setter, like Pelipper, a little bit better, has a little bit wider move pool. So rain teams are definitely going to see a spike in play, but I don't think anything's going to take down the Tyranitar Excadrill combo in sand. So I don't think rain's still going to be the best weather, but it's going to be better.
It doesn't seem like it has a whole lot of play now, so adding a new element to actually give it some use, so to say, is definitely going to be probably welcome for a lot of players.
And then Politoed also gets the Perish Song move, and in VGC is double battles, and if you can get your opponent down to 2 Pokemon and you have 3 Pokemon left, and one of them has Perish Song, you can just Perish Song and basically win the game at that point. They have 3 turns. Yeah. They have 3 turns to knock out your opponent. Now, Perish Song's already in the game. Like, Politoed's not bringing it in, and it's already something people are using. But this is one of the better Perish Song users.
Not going to complain. Not unless it's getting used against me, then I'll complain a lot.
Right. Next up, we have Dragalge. It's a Dragon Poison type with the ability Adaptability, which means the moves that are Dragon or Poison types, whatever moves are the same type as the Pokemon, they get a 1.5 boost as well. And I think when you're Dynamaxing and you have a Pokemon with Adaptability, it's just going to be shredding teams. Plus, you get access to like Draco Meteor and stuff like that, which are just going to, cut through the competition. And you don't get the negative effect of your stats dropping.
Yeah, you're definitely going to see a shift in the meta, not maybe one that's like tremendous, but you're definitely going to see a couple new ones being in there that's going to be in everybody's set list, most likely.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not going to see like a huge, like, this changes everything.
Right. Right. I don't think anybody's going to be like, like shaking up the meta the way things have. But, I mean, maybe there's a combination that we haven't seen yet. You know what I mean? There's a whole bunch of new Pokemon that have never battled next to these Pokemon before. So there could be something crazy. The whole max moves affecting the stats of the Pokemon next to it is pretty huge. So,
and I'm sure within a short period of time, somebody like Wolfie Glick or somebody of that nature will come up with some bizarre combination, and then everybody and their mother is going to be using it.
Mm-hmm. And then it's going to be unusable because everybody's already countering it.
Yeah.
That's probably how it'll go.
That's true. Typically, it is about once a week.
And the last Pokemon on the list is Talonflame. Talonflame was a straight monster in X and Y when it first came out, and they had to nerf its ability in Sun and Moon. And it didn't see as much play in Sun and Moon, but it's still going to see plenty of play. And I think it's going to see even more play in Sword and Shield because of the ability Gale Wings. It makes it so that all flying type moves it use, they go first. Like they have priority, like Quick Attack. Oh. But it has to have so in X and Y it was all the time. Anytime you use the flying move. So you use Brave Bird, you just spam Brave Bird, and you go first every time. And you just decimate teams. People had to have a rock type or something that resists flying on their team for Talonflame. It was really annoying. I
wasn't even playing VGC at that point, and I still know all about Talonflame. So
Mega Kangaskhan and Talonflame is on your team? Oh, how original. But so it got nerfed where it has to have full HP to, get the priority bonus on its flying type moves.
So typically you're only going to get one shot at it.
Basically. But imagine priority max airstream from your Brave Bird, like your Brave Bird move. Insanely powerful attack, and then you're also speeding up the Pokemon next to it.
Yeah, the ability to speed up the one next to you is that's where the crux of it is.
It's a priority speed boost for your partner. And say you target the Pokemon that they're attacking Talonflame with, and you knock it out, Talonflame might get a second attack off. It might get 3 attacks off in the when it's prioritized. Worst case scenario, you're gonna get 1, and they have to double target it. It's gonna be good.
So we know it's gonna be on Duck's list.
Probably. And then I don't have another Pokemon on the list. I felt weird to do 4, but I just want to give a shout out to Luxray. That's like a fan favorite that was shown in the trailer that we're gonna get. So
here's a question for you.
What?
So with VGC, we've seen a lot of the 1 month long events where Pokemon does an official event, and we've seen with this most recent season, they've actually started attributing points to it, which awesome.
Mm-hmm.
We're currently dealing with the Players Cup. I don't say currently. Like what was the finalist yesterday? It was Tord and.
That was in TCG, but
yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
It was Tord and Andrew Mahone.
So Tord and Andrew Mahone. They played in the Players' Cup finals yesterday. I didn't get to watch it because life gets in the way, but you did.
Mm-hmm.
So that is not the Players' Cup is an official event using PTCGO. Do you think we're actually going to start seeing more events like the Players' Cup, but in the VGC, as opposed to the 1 month long, you can play 50 games a day type tournaments?
I think so. It depends. I mean, it all depends. There's some kind of they've got to be analyzing the data to see if this is at all profitable or lucrative to them. if it is, then surely they will.
See,
I mean,
VGC is not where the money is. It's not.
Right.
They sell the units, and typically within the first 3 weeks of a unit going on sale, that's when they make the bulk of their money. The rest is just residuals, and it's gravy. Now, with TCG, they're constantly making money. And if you're playing on PTCGO, they're making nothing. They're making jack and squat. So I don't think after we see a lot of the reopenings, we're going to see the PTCGO tournaments, except maybe if they might just do it as a novel thing once a year. I can see them doing that. But with VGC, there's really no incentive to having it in store other than that maybe you'll convince somebody to play in the TCG. So I can see them definitely going and doing more in online type tournaments with like Sword and Shield, for example. And it's going to keep people interested. It's possibly going to bring more people in. I just don't know from a marketing standpoint if it's a great idea, because you're not really gaining anything, and there's a slight possibility you're losing something because of not having those people in store and having that ability to try to get them to buy TCG also. But also that social aspect sometimes keeps people more involved, I think.
We're actually going to talk about that a little bit later in the episode.
Oh, we are?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
You know-
it just come to mind. It wasn't in the format. I just figured I'd ask you, see what your opinion was. But
Yeah, I mean, I don't see anything like there's a little bit less of a debate for VGC.
yeah,
like,
TCG,
I mean,
they
honestly-
need money, buddy. Come on, money. They need
Honestly,
money.
regionals would probably be better if video game wasn't there.
It'd free up
I
the
mean-
judges, have more tables.
That's what I'm saying. Thered be more room. Not that it's bad. Not that I don't like seeing the video game players, or video game players are less involved, than TCG. But if they separated those two, or maybe video game players just stayed at home, or TCG players stayed at home, one or the other, regionals would probably be better for both parties if VGC and TCG weren't played right next to each other.
Yeah, you always have that the conflict, not with the players, but with, it seems like the organizers having the ability to separate the two. And then you also run into issues with judging, because I have always judged TCG. I've never even bothered taking the test for VGC because, quite frankly, the league that I ran, I did not have a VGC contingent. Just didn't have it. And I think if I had been there when Sword and Shield came out, it probably would have. But I don't know how my store would have liked that, because they're not making any money off of that then. So I don't know. I don't know. But you'll a lot of times at those events, you'll have judges where you'll have all these judges for TCG, and you have like one guy running the entire section for the VGC. I've seen it, and you'll be having everybody, like, when you sign up as a judge, people that aren't judges may not know this. Typically, when you sign up for a regional type event, they'll ask you, where do you want to be? And you can list, like, in order what you would like to do. A lot of times I would sign up for, I want to help the younger players. I want to be on the TCG side. I never put VGC. I even put mascot before I put TCG, before I put VGC, and I'm too tall to be the mascot. Simply because I just don't have the experience, and I don't like the culture a lot of it, because Pokemon does turn their head very, very often when it comes to cheating in the VGC. So I don't like that culture of it, and I kind of just steered away from it. Now that we're in with Sword and Shield, I was really hopeful that they'd have some kind of mechanism to stop that from happening. They don't.
It's worse. It's worse.
It's worse.
People can customize whatever they want to appear in the raid. It's so bad.
Yeah, it's really bad. So, it just something that pops in my head. But let's get back on track. What do you have next on the format, Duck?
Next is TCG.
Let's talk about TCG then.
So this month's issue of Koro revealed Sarud V.
For people that aren't familiar, what is Koro?
Koro is a Japanese magazine. I think it covers a bunch of different media sources. Kind of like maybe best, closest to our Game Informer magazine.
Okay. Except not crappy and free.
Not crappy and free, and not just video games. But I mean, Game Informer's reached out and they cover articles on product now too.
Sure they do.
It's gotten worse. But yeah, so it's multiple media sources. They've revealed things. They've had that's how we found out what the Sun and Moon second stage evolutions were going to look like. That's how we found out about Lycanroc. They teased Lycanroc midday form before it appeared in the anime. Things like that. And this month they're actually revealing new cards.
Okay.
Excuse me. So we got to see Zarude V and 2 amazing rare cards. Amazing rare cards is something that we knew we were going to be getting, but we didn't know what they were, and there was some like weird translation stuff for like rules specifically partaking to them. But yeah, let's break down what the cards are. So Zarude V, grass type, 210 HP, basic. For 2 colorless energy, it has the move Bind Down, does 50 damage. Your opponent's active Pokemon can't retreat next turn. This is something we've been seeing a lot, and I think it's to counter those Pokemon like Zacian or it's not as popular now, but the Charizard Reshiram that can't use the attack twice in a row.
Okay, yeah, and then you don't constantly see people trying to find ways to get it out of the active and back right in immediately. And
I mean, Switch is a thing, so that's usually how they're doing it. So this wouldn't stop that, because retreating and switching are 2 different things.
No, but when you ran out of the switches or you couldn't find one, sometimes a hard retreat was an option.
Right, especially in decks that can accelerate the energy back, like Zacian V.
Right.
And then we have Jungle Rise. For 2 grass energy, it does 100 damage, and it says you may attach up to 2 basic energy from your hand to your bench Pokemon in any way you like. Heal all damage from those Pokemon. So it's kind of it does damage, accelerates energy, and heals your Pokemon.
Yeah, it's a little OP.
That's bonkers.
It's a little OP. Let's be honest, it's OP as hell.
Now, it does require 2 grass energy.
Ooh,
so
well.
there is a limiting factor, but rainbow energies are a thing. We currently have cards that search for whatever basic energy you want. So I imagine this card's going to see a lot of play. I don't know how it's going to be perfected. Like, usually I can see some kind of game plan. But, yeah, I definitely see the pros figuring how to put this card in every deck.
Yeah, probably pretty quick, too.
There
never really seems like there's a whole lot of meta grass decks, but it's a possibility. I mean, it's going to be there. If
there's a grass deck, this card is busted in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, right now there aren't really, and we haven't seen any for a long time.
Next.
So next up we have Jirachi Amazing Rare. Well, that's not in the name, but it's the Amazing Rare Jirachi card, a new type of card we're seeing.
Yeah, the art's a little different. It like bleeds out of the box. That's kind of neat.
This is probably like the best they could do for a card, in my opinion. Like, this is better than a full art to me. So like so Jirachi is a steel type with 70 HP, basic Pokemon. Its ability is Dream Oracle. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is your active, you may look at the top 2 cards of your deck, put one of them in your hand, put the other one on top of the deck. Pretty good ability.
Yeah.
Here's the attack. I mean, that's decent. Like, it's not bad.
It's not great.
That's the bad part.
Yeah.
But and it does have a retreat cost of 1, so it's not like you're going to be able to just retreat it for free and get this effect all the time.
Unless you're on a skateboard. No.
Fine. Right. The ability's fine. But for a Psychic, a Fighting, and a Steel energy, it has the Amazing Star attack. Search your deck for up to 7 basic energy cards and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like, then shuffle the deck.
Holy crap. I mean, it's going to be difficult to get that combination of energy cards on there, but if you do...
yeah.
Game changer. If you can actually get it powered up to where you need it. Yeah, that could definitely be a complete game changer.
And according to the translators, these Amazing Rare cards don't have any rule attached to them. Like we thought they did when they first revealed them.
Like the Prism Stars and stuff like that.
I think it was like your opponent only takes one prize card when they knock it out. I think that was what it said, and I was like, well, that would imply that we would think that you should take 2 prize cards, but nothing about this card says it's a V. You know what I mean?
No.
So, yeah, apparently there's no special rules. You can have 4 Jirachi in your deck if you want, as is now. There might be more information that comes out later, but right now that's the information we have.
Is the name just Jirachi?
It's just Jirachi.
So you could mix and match with.
So this would replace, you wouldn't be able to run 4 Stellar Wish Jirachi.
Yeah.
And have this Jirachi. So that is something to keep in mind. I don't think this is going to be better than
just for any new players or people who are starting to learn how to construct their own decks. You cannot have it just because the card's different does not mean you can run it. It goes by the name on the card. Period. End of story.
Mm-hmm.
So
next we have Rayquaza. It's another amazing rare. It's colorless with 120 HP, basic Pokemon. For grass, lightning, and fighting energy, it has amazing burst, 80 damage times, 80 damage times. Discard all basic energy from this Pokemon. This attack does 80 damage for each type of basic energy discarded this way. Not quite as good as Jirachi's attack, in my opinion.
No, and it's still got the difficulty factor of getting the energy attached to it to begin with. So.
Right. Now, we have seen decks that do benefit from all the different types of energy. Like there's a lone Executor deck that does damage, or it does more damage based on how many different types of energy are attached to it. And that did see some play in some regionals. I don't think it saw a whole lot of success.
I think Ho-Oh was like that too originally, or not originally, but at one point.
Yeah, something like that. And I know Xerneas did damage based on how many different types you had on your bench. So they kind of like mix that kind of thing around.
I mean, it's definitely not the first time we've seen something like that, but it's none of the decks I played would ever be able to pull that off. And I played pretty mainstream decks, so
well, hold on a second. What if you play a deck that has a bunch of rainbow energies, and you play Jirachi, and then you get Jirachi's attack off and power up a Rayquaza?
I guess.
You just knock out whatever Pokemon V. That's a lot of work to only have a 70 HP.
Especially with basics, with Jirachi's running 80 HP and Rayquaza's running 120. I mean, they're not going to last long.
There's with the cards that are already out in the and swinging hard even after rotation. I don't think that particular strategy will work. But maybe somebody can figure out how to get a bunch of basic energies onto Rayquaza.
It's possible. Right on.
Yeah.
So I think, do you have anything else for TCG on there? I think oh yeah, we do. We have lots of stuff for TCG left.
Yep. So that trainer toolkit was finally revealed. We got to see somebody online has them and started opening them and revealed the contents. And the Dedenne in there, surprisingly enough, is the alternate art Tag All Stars Dedenne. When they revealed it, they had they showed they're like, look, you're gonna have alternate art of these trainer cards, and we're like, oh, okay. And then they said and 2 Dedenne GX, so we assumed there wasn't going to be, it was going to be the regular Dedenne, right?
Not so much.
Yeah, surprisingly enough, I was surprised.
Yeah, it's yeah, I don't like it, but it's a lot better than that Eevee.
It is better than the Eevee. I don't really like that style of art either.
No, that Eevee was freaking fugly.
Like sloppy looking, cartoony.
Yeah.
Cards. I don't really prefer that. My favorite is always the attacking towards the screen or something like that.
Yeah, to quote CM Punk, that thing has been far too ugly for far too long. So. So the next thing I have on the docket was just a little discussion I wanted to have for
after I watched the Players' Cup, I started thinking about, this is actually kind of better to watch than in real life TCG.
What'd you think of the finals?
There was a lot of dead drawing from what I saw toward one. I was like, oh man, please do Tord and Andrew. Like that would be the best finals.
He actually was. He was messaging me early in the morning, hoping it came down to Tord and Andrew.
and then lo and behold, the finals was Tord and Andrew. And I'm like, yes. But I was really rooting for Andrew. I think he played the best out of any player in that tournament until the finals, and Tord just kind of finessed him.
Torded him.
Yeah, Tord. But yeah, Andrew actually lost round 1 and went into the loser's bracket. This was a double elimination tournament. Tord won the whole way across the board. Andrew lost in round 1 and then won across the board in the loser's bracket. So it was really cool to see them clash at the end. Andrew actually had to beat in the losers semifinals. He actually had to beat the guy who Pablo Mesa or Tablemon. He had to beat him to get the chance to fight Tord. So it was really cool that it was Andrew went full circle, conquered his opponent that he beat the first time, and then, played against Tord, and it wasn't even like fun games. Game 1 was over in like 3 turns because Andrew got donked. And I do believe I think Tord won both games. Andrew almost won game 2, and then Tord won. But great series. Watch Andrew play. Godly representation of Baby Blacephalon. Insane. Plus, they did a really good job at turning TCGO into like a spectator mode.
Yeah, I when I was looking at it, it was kind of like I wish that they had time to come up with a spectator's view so that they didn't have just to block stuff out. Mm-hmm. But they used it in a creative way, which I gotta give them props for.
I was impressed with what I knew they had to work with. I was very impressed with what they did. They can make it look way better and way more polished, but with what they had, I was blown away by what they did.
All right, so what do you want to talk about?
Let's discuss: is it better? Is watching TCGO better than watching in real life, or is it better to hold the competition in general? As the competition. So I made a list of pros and cons. Let's go with the pros first because that's what I typed up first.
Go ahead.
So one argument I have is that things that take time are sped up because the game automates it for you. The game shuffles itself, the deck itself. That saves so much more time for the players to actually play.
Well, that and we do not run into the problem of, hey, that card stayed on the bottom of your deck. We don't come into those judge issues where, oh, that person, insufficient shuffling, or and a lot of these folks are judgment calls. That's why you're called a judge. But in using PTCGO as opposed to IRL cards, that's kind of eliminated. That possibility is gone.
Yeah, there's no I created an irreversible game state. There's no, I accidentally played my quick ball twice. Yeah. Shade.
Or you get the bloody issues where the 3 judges, all consecutively put their own heads up their own butts and try to backtrack a game to where the game state was intact, and then come figure out what penalty they're going to assess. And an hour later, you forgot about how far into the game you actually were, and it's just nonsensical. So
there are so many tournaments where we're watching the top 8 and then a penalty happens and it just throws everything off and it ruins everybody's enjoyment of the tournament. That's all taken away by TCGO.
Yeah. And traditionally TCPI has done a horrendous job of informing spectators about what's going on when they're having these confabs with the mysterious man on the headset will post and they're trying to determine what's going on, and they just done a horrible job of just trying to tell people, okay, this is what is going on, this is what we're trying to figure out, blah blah blah, and they end up hanging their commentators out to dry, and they're literally just trying to, so what do you think about EV?
Let's not be silent because that's bad for the stream.
Yeah. So this again eliminates that problem.
So I also put in no one can cheat intentionally. You can't make a mistake. You can't also cheat. And also it's not only is it, you know, that you eliminate that whole miscommunication between the judges and then the streamers and then the chat and the people watching. But you also eliminate a lot of the confusion. Like, what card is that? What card?
Yeah.
What rainbow rare card I'm looking at? Because on TCGO, it's very easy to tell what card you're looking at, and you can even read the text if you're like, at my computer, I can read some of the cards on the field. I don't need I don't need it to be the little card they put up in the side.
And eventually, what you might end up seeing is, if this continues on the way it is like Twitch, which is where Pokemon does its streaming. There is add-ons for Magic, where you can actually see along the side of the screen, if you have the add-on, the extension put onto your Twitch channel, what cards are in play and stuff of that nature. And that's something they could eventually do, is with extensions, push out more information. I just don't know if this is something they're going to pursue or not.
You could also see each player's hand the whole time, so that made it way better for the viewers. Because a lot of times, those players, those pros, will draw their cards and intentionally hold them in a way that the camera can't see them.
Yes, they will, and they won't fan them out.
I don't know why, but maybe they're worried that guy's got a little microchip, and somebody watching the stream is going to say what's in his hand.
It's either that, or they're just normally used to playing that way, not because of the camera, but because of other players.
Oh, that could be it.
I mean, really, how many times has anybody here been to an event, and when it comes down to like those last handful of players during like top 8, everyone's trying to crowd around, and you don't know who's friends with who, and you kind of feel bad about telling people, you got to get back, you can't watch, and I kind of got around that by actually streaming an overhead view to a big screen on the other side of the room. That way, we kind of eliminated that a little bit, but you still inevitably would have that problem, and not everyone has that capability to do in store. So,
and when I played there, I always made sure that I had my hand like this, so everybody could see what cards I had. Because I hate watching the streams where you can't see people's hands.
Hey, for a small league and a small store, I think we were pretty innovative the way we did things.
Oh yeah. You don't have to deal with bad sportsmanship, which is another thing with the cheating thing. But like also, how your opponent realizes that they're going to lose and then they start being a jerk sometimes.
Yeah. Or, dude, the game's over. Just scoop. Come on.
Yeah.
Or they just sit there and make asinine comments, and then you have, of course, you always have the table flippers. You're eventually going to have a table flipper. I almost had a table flipper at one of your pre-releases.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Over a Diglett.
Because of the 0.02 chance that had of happening. Flip 8 heads in a row.
Yeah, I did.
It's probably 1.02 chance.
Mad. So if you're listening, hi Tristan, how are you?
Don't say his name.
Oh no, I'll throw Diglett under the bus. Oh man.
And then the final pro for competitions being on TCGO instead of IRL would be no need to travel, saving you lots of money.
This is true. I've actually had people call me. My league was in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, and then I had people call me from Pittsburgh. We're on our way. Please don't start the event. And it's like, I gotta have to.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have people do travel obscene distances for certain events. Usually cups, not challenges. And I can get on my soapbox and go on and on about how you have to support challenges if you want to make sure there's going to be cups still there. So, but I won't for this one. So, any more pros?
Nope.
Let's go to the cons.
Okay, don't steal anything though. Get it? Because cons like con men. Anyways,
Boo.
Boo what?
Boo earns.
So a con I would say is you actually really you actually lose some of the great experiences you get from sitting across another player. I was just talking about bad sportsmanship, but I've also had really good. I've made like friends in the Pokemon community just playing against them. Okay.
Me, you jackass.
That's how that's what I'm saying. Like, this podcast might not ever exist if TCGO or Pokemon was only played online.
Guaranteed it wouldn't, because I'm not doing this by my damn self.
I wouldn't have been driving an hour away to go to your league, and then one day just been like, "Yo, you seem like you know how to do stuff. Like, I got an idea for a podcast. Can you do it?" Like,
well, as a matter of fact.
and so this great thing we have was born.
And here we have almost a year later, and I have 3. Okay.
So yeah, we would lose out on that kind of experience, or like the regionals you go to where you play a guy in round 1, and then you see him later on in the tournament. You're like, "Yo, hey, remember me? How you doing? What's your record? Here's my record."
Yeah. Can I see your deck list?
Yeah. So I mean, that's just something you lose out on, and that I think is unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, I mean, there is events where you do meet great people and you do foster friendships, and especially with the juniors, that's possible. But you also run into the other flip side of that, where we all know that if you're into competitive and you do travel, you'll be sitting down in an event. All right, I just drove an hour and a half to be here. Woo, this is gonna be great. Oh, there's that son of a bitch. It's that guy. That guy. And everyone knows that guy, because every time you go to an event, there is that guy. And the juniors are more cutthroat than anything. I've seen some of the juniors just getting absolutely freaking vicious, because they end up being very cliquish. The ones that travel are the same ones that travel to all the events, so they become this very cliquish, and then they're not very. They don't like letting outsiders into their little circle. So I can see pros and cons on that, and I'm not sure where I land on that one. So
I said bad sportsmanship as a pro, and then the connections you're losing out on as a con. So it's kind of like both ends of I've seen both ends of the stick. To the events I've traveled to.
Absolutely.
Next is like the open potential for hacking. If somebody could crack PTCGO, I imagine if it could be cracked, it would have been cracked. But
here's the thing: it's not a competitive game,
right?
So no one's really probably put a whole lot of effort into it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it can be done, and I mean, if you can do it on a Switch and you can do it on a cartridge, I'm sure you can do it. It's just a matter of
is it worth?
There was no effort needed because it wasn't a competitive sport.
Yeah,
because look at any esport, and you have any esport. Christ, you look at any FPS esport right now, and you can find a scandal of some kind where this team had this person using an aimbot or X-ray vision or what have you. So I mean, if it became like a highly popular competitive thing, you definitely see hacks popping up on it. But as of right now, you don't really see it.
Yep. Like, not yet, but who knows? And maybe there is, and it just isn't publicly known about. That's another thing. Whoever did it might be keeping it secret. And the final con is your tournament experience is dependent on your own internet connection. There was actually somebody in the Players' Cup. The Players' Cup was actually 2 weeks ago, and they were just streaming it now because they can't stream when they're not right next to the players because somebody could be feeding them information about the stream. But somebody's computer did die during a match. According to the chat, they're like, "Hey, oh yeah, I heard about this match. This guy's computer died," and so they had to like cut and go back to where they try to recreate the game state. And that's not something that's going to work if there's 1,500 players playing.
Yeah, I mean, how the hell could you recreate the game state?
I don't know. I don't know if they just started a new game or whatever. I wasn't fully paying attention to the stream when Andrew wasn't on. So
fanboy.
I've fanboyed a little bit. I'm not like diehard, but like this tour, his performance was like top notch.
I mean, I finally, since October, I have dealt with my internet connection being just busted, and I've finally got it under control. But for a while there, I started getting into games like World of Warships and stuff like that, and I would be in the middle of a match and just my internet connection died, And that's a thing you're going to run into if you're playing online, competitive play. And there is zero way to say, well, it was, innocent thing. But how's that fair to the other player that was doing well to make them restart? And, somebody gets in there by the apple. Plus, if I'm doing bad and that's all it takes, I can just reach over. I can reach my modem right now. I can just, pull the Ethernet cable out. And get in there, bite the apple. Okay, here we go. So, people are always going to argue, but this was the problem. You should give them another chance. Well, look at it from the other guy's perspective. So, yeah, it's definitely going to depend on your internet connection. And I'm in Oklahoma. Okay, there's not a whole lot of internet service providers here. When we were looking for a house, we kept telling people that we were looking and think, okay, does it have broadband? Well, it's got satellite. Well, no, I don't care about satellite. I need cable. Well, yeah. No, we might get fiber someday. Well, yeah, you might get cable someday too. So the house we chose to live in was commensurate upon whether we could get cable internet. And around here, it's not a big thing. When the schools shut down, they decided to go. They did a survey. Do you want us to make these paper packets you come pick up and take home for your kids, or do you want to go to online learning? And we said online, of course. We were in the minority because most people in the school did not have internet. So when the kids would have these Zoom meetings for class, there'd be like 3 or 4 kids there. So there's just not a whole lot of internet access here. So I can see that this is not going to be an isolated thing. It's going to be in a lot of places, especially in like the Midwest of the United States. But take the United States out of the equation. Look at countries like China, for example, where internet is far and in between and heavily censored. But you can't. It's not going to be as widely available for people. It's going to be, again, like most things, regulated to the coasts in the U.S.
Yeah. So the last thing I have was a.
Yeah. What's the last thing you have, Duck?
The last thing I have was a neutral bar, and it's basically the price. This is going to completely change if they were to do this and make it straight up no physical play. It would completely restructure the way everything is done. Physical cards would probably be worth less, and TCGO cards would be worth more. Now, the thing is that to get the cards you want on TCGO, you also have to
have code cards.
You have to have code cards, which means the total number of packs opened would have to remain about the same.
Yeah. And now you're still going to run into people that the bulk majority of our code cards that we buy online, folks, come from stores that are just opening packs or streamers that are opening packs. That's where the bulk majority of those cards come from. And if we're not having a big push for cards, that's going to go away. People aren't going to be opening them. So the number of code cards on the market's going to go down. You're going to see a card, a digital card, no physical anything. You have nothing to show for it. Going for like $30. I mean, if you go just buy a pack of cards, how much a code card costs now? I mean, you're already seeing cards that are running like $100 on PTCGO. And that's not an exaggeration at all.
No.
That's one reason I'm not playing PTCGO right now is I don't have a current deck and I can't afford to. Well, I could afford, but I'm not going to because it just seems ridiculous to me to do that. The people on PTCGO have gone out of their damn minds with what they expect for cards.
They should make more cards accessible, like a way to grind and select a card that you want to use.
Or they got to do something.
Just grinding for packs that you can't even trade isn't enough.
No, PTCGO was not created as a online competitive platform. It was made as simply as a supplement to get people interested in the physical game, but also so that it adds a perceived value to buying that physical pack of cards because you're getting a code card with it. So whether that value is real or imaginary, it's still perceived as being there. So
Right.
that's the reasoning behind it, I believe, if I had to make a educated guess.
So the final thing is Pokemon Go.
Pokemon.
That's it
for Pokemon Go. So
this is like your baby, so
well, it's not really my baby because I haven't played Pokemon Go in a while. I took my Pokeball to work today though, because I was gonna just put it in my work car and drive around and do what I do with it. But unfortunately, went and looked, and I'm completely full on everything. So I gotta go through and clean out my account before I can do anything. But just today, tickets went on sale for Pokemon Go Fest 2020 Summer Adventure to You. So Go Fest starts, I believe, in July. Yeah, July 25th at 10 a.m. And trainers will enjoy the following. Trainers can access a special research story they can only get on day one. 5 rotating habitats themed around fire, water, grass, battle, and friendship will feature special Pokemon that go along with that habitat's theme. These habitats will rotate every hour, so each habitat will be featured twice during day one. Trainers will be able to work together in Global Challenge Arena. The GoFest exclusive feature will be available only to ticket holders. In the Global Challenge Arena, trainers will have a chance to join forces in order to compete in competitive challenges every hour. If trainers complete a challenge, they will earn a bonus for the remainder of that hour. You can check out Global Challenge Arena screen to keep track of your global progress. Trainers will be able to encounter 75 species of Pokemon in the wild, in raids, and by competing in special research tasks. Is this getting annoying yet?
I'm excited to hear what else.
Pokemon Go Fest 2020 Day 2 on Sunday, July 26th at 10 a.m. Trainers will enjoy something very different. We want Day 2 experience to be a surprise, so ticket holders will learn that we have in store that very day. There'll also be another special research story for trainers to enjoy. And that's not all. Regardless of whether you have a ticket, trainers in the United States can order a commemorative Pokemon Go Fest 2020 t-shirt available online from the Pokemon Center. Visit PokemonCenter.com now to purchase a t-shirt while supplies last. Yeah. So I'm going to start doing commercials. If you want to order sponsorship slots, that's the voice I'm going to use. But here's the crux of it, and this is where I think it's going to get people. Tickets to Pokemon Go Fest 2020 are available in the in-app shop. Tickets are $14.99 plus applicable taxes and fees, or the equivalent in your local currency. And tickets cannot be purchased with Pokecoins.
Yeah, $15 seems like a pretty steep price, especially when you don't know what you're getting.
Yeah, especially if Day 2 is a big surprise. It's not
like
what'd you say before the podcast? It's not a loot box; it's a surprise box.
Yeah, it's not. Oh yeah, it's I think who said it?
You.
Oh man, one of the big developing companies was like, these aren't loot boxes; they're surprise mechanics.
That's EA.
Yeah, EA said that. That's what it was.
Did that about the Star Wars game. That's
what I said. I was just quoting them.
So yeah, it's definitely. I'm not sure if I know for a fact I will not be getting it.
Yeah, definitely not.
So, do you have anything else for us this week, Ducky?
No, that's actually it.
Okay. Well, make sure that if you have not done so yet, that you also check out our YouTube channel. And if you check out for the Mount Moon Crew on YouTube, you'll find it. And you're going to see archived episodes of the Mount Moon Review podcast. You'll see lots of breaking news videos, as well as our other shows, such as the Untitled Anime Show. And this is the month of My Hero. and we'll be doing a lot of My Hero Academia videos for this month. We also have the newest podcast on our channel, the Social Liability Podcast, which is an adult-oriented show that it's basically two middle-aged men complaining about the world. You can also watch our shenanigans videos. We just had one drop yesterday, and that was Human Fall Flat. That was me and Ducky playing. So
pretty funny.
That is the longest level I've ever played. Yeah, definitely check that out. And if you hit the subscribe button, like some of the videos, it helps us tremendously, and I'd greatly appreciate it. Other than that, make sure that you can check out the audio version of our podcast on Anchor, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, as well as numerous other places that have just decided to pick up our RSS feed and not tell us. So, Duck, I think that's all I got. You can make sure you can check out Ducky on social media at Blue Duck Gold Duck. That's Blue Duck Gold Duck without the E. You can also get on his Twitch channel, which is the same, Blue Duck Gold Duck without the E, and he is actually streaming now, folks. If you've been a long-time listener, you've been hearing me harp on him for almost a year now, because we are on episode 49, to get in the streaming game, and he's done a couple things, but now he's finally got his capture card. He's finally got things set up. He's got a third monitor, folks, so he's almost a pro now. And he's going to start streaming. You haven't done anything yet, though. So you waiting for Isle of Armor?
I got a few things I need to prepare in my Pokemon game for Isle of Armor. But yeah, so I plan on streaming on Friday, starting at like 10 a.m. Eastern time. The start of the Isle of Armor DLC all the way until I complete the new Pokédex. So
outstanding. We look forward to watching that. I'll be honest, too. I'll probably be streaming at some point. But I'm not sure what days or anything like that. It'll all depend on how many people decide just to mess up my work week. So, Duck, I think that's all we got. Get us out of here.
All right, guys. Until next time, just remember, if it's too good to be blue, it's probably gold.
Have a week.
Just because your card is magic, you think you're safe because you killed my life orb. Baby, do you dare to not flinch? 'Cause I'm coming at you like a dark pulse. I know you're gonna throw. You're gonna throw a storm. But I got that lucky chance. There's no critical hits.